Most people play safe. Today's guest does not. Roger Wakefield went from a plumber to a YouTube powerhouse. Roger is proof that credibility and confidence can turn a trade into a global platform. We talk about brand building, bold moves, and what it takes to be the go to expert in any industry, specifically when it comes to videos and YouTube. So if you're ready to stop blending in and playing small, start standing out through video and getting exposure with your brand, hit play because this is one episode you do not want to miss. Roger, thank you so much for joining the Rise Up For You podcast. It is such an honor to have you on our show today.
Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So just for some context for all of our listeners out there, Roger and I met through a mutual friend named Bill Walsh, somebody that we are both connected to that I know has been both supporting both of us. And I saw Roger on stage, met him at a conference, heard his story, what he's doing, how he got to where he is today. And I knew that I had to bring him onto the podcast because he's got a great story and also a lot of things that he can share that I think will help some of you take action. Because if I know my audience, there's a number of you that feel like you can't do something because maybe you don't have this or that or this. And I think Roger will help you see things in a different light. But Roger, before we jump in, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do in your own words.
Well, now, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm a YouTuber. And I know that sounds funny because, I mean, at the age of 61, that's not ever what I thought I would be. But in the last 7 years, I have grown the biggest plumbing YouTube channel in the world. And I've done it because in everything you talk about, emotional intelligence, connecting with people, seeing people, understanding people, I've been able to do that through video. So 7 years ago, we started making our YouTube channel and started growing it. And it has grown phenomenal. And now I travel around the country. I speak on stages. I coach people in the trades. I teach coaches, consultants, and trainers how to use YouTube, how to start YouTube, how to grow it. So I'm doing a lot of fun things out there that really I never thought I would be doing.
I love it. I'm so excited for this conversation. So I want to just go back a little bit. So tell us, who was Roger before YouTube? Like before we even get into the YouTube, who was Roger? I don't know. Is it 10 years ago, Roger? 15 years ago? 20 years ago?
But you know what? The day I walked into the conference 7 years ago, I literally walked in to grow my plumbing company. I had started a plumbing company just 3 years before. I'd hired marketing companies that literally were ripping us off. I paid $47,000 to make my phone stop ringing. And imagine your entrepreneurs telling them to drive down the road, throw $47,000 cash out the window, and know that when they get to the office, the phone wasn't going to be working, wasn't going to be ringing. Mm-hmm. That's where I was. So I walked into this conference at the age of 54, thinking that I'm going to learn social media, which at 54, that's Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down the corridor and I saw a placard that said, get in front of your customers using video. And I thought, wow, you know what? We could do video. Never once thinking it'd be me in front of a camera. But I walked in there, I sat on the front row, and the guy who came out and started talking about YouTube, one of the first things he said is YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And I thought, wait a minute, why aren't we on YouTube? Really, at first, I thought he was full of it because I just thought YouTube's where I store my videos. But after listening to him more, it's the second largest search engine in the world, and it's owned by the largest, Google.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we need to start doing YouTube. And 1 month later, we started posting 3 videos a week, every single week.
I love that. So talk to me a little bit more about, as the entrepreneur, okay, I know how important YouTube is. There's a number of things I want to talk with you today, but I know how important YouTube is, and I know how important video is, especially after COVID, because there's still a lot of people that work remote. We want to be able to reach more people in the world. I believe that YouTube and social media has allowed that to happen versus just being a local business. You can now be a global business, but I'm sure Roger, there's a lot of entrepreneurs and there's a lot of people that are building their business that understand they need to be on YouTube or do video, but they go to start that video and it's like, ugh, right? Or maybe it takes them 2 hours to do a video and then they delete it and throw it in the trash and then they never put it up there. So just like walk us through this process of why it's so important to have video and then how to kind of like break through that initial barrier of scary video. It has to be perfect mentality.
Number one, no video is ever perfect. We don't do videos to make them perfect. We do videos to produce them, to put them out, to publish them. So what I teach people is, look, start with what you have. Literally, when I started, and Nani, you can go back and look at my first videos. They're still up, and I've got a laptop set up on my desk, and I'm backing my chair up so I'm framed the way I want to be. I'm hollering at the laptop because I don't have a mic, and we just use the LED lights in the office, and they were horrible. But we did that for a while, and we started getting attention. We started growing. Then we started investing in the tools to do things right. Most people that think that they can't do video, I can sit and talk with them for a little bit. And the first three things I teach them are, number one, always look the camera dead center. Look right in the middle of the lens, because then you're looking the viewer right in the eye. Yeah. Meaning they're sitting there looking at the video. This is you connecting with them. Say the word you, because you're only talking to one person. I get 1.5 million views a month. I say you because I'm only talking to the one person watching the video at that time. And talk to them like they're your best friend. If you were trying to tell your best friend what it is you do, why you do it, and explain it to them, you wouldn't stand up there like a professor in college saying, okay, look, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. You'd talk to them like it's me and you talking. It'd be like, Nada, look into the camera, say the word you. And when you talk about emotional intelligence, pretend you're talking to your best friend. It'd be a completely different message. And those are messages people can connect with. And that's been amazing.
Yeah. How often do you script? Like, do you do a lot of scripting and then, like reading the prompt, or do you do a lot of improvisation? Because I know people that do both or all.
I do both. The only time that I really try to script is if there's certain things that my team wants me to say, or if I'm doing sponsored videos and a sponsor says, look, you've got to make sure you say this exactly like it's written, because compliance says if we don't, we've got legal issues. Then I want to make sure I do what they want done. And learning to read a teleprompter in the beginning, it's hard, especially for me. I'm a plumber. I've never read a teleprompter, but you get used to it and you get the speed set right. And me, if I'm using a teleprompter, I like to go through and read it once or twice before I ever step in front of the camera. That way I already know what it says, and I know what my tone inflection needs to be. I know how I want to say it.
Yeah. And I also think that there's a level of self-confidence that comes with that, right? I think a lot of times people forget that they are the expert. And if they just rely on the fact that they have knowledge that they need to share, it becomes that much, just like you said, it's having a conversation, right? Like, so if I came to you in your living room and I was like, hey, I got a plumbing problem, Roger, you're just going to tell me, okay, here's what you need to do. And you're going to have that conversation. What would you say is, one of the biggest challenges you see with individuals that are, I guess, trying to get their business out there and trying to use video and YouTube? What are some of the blocking points that you see with them?
Well, first of all, when people start a YouTube channel, I tell them, look, in under 7 words, tell me what your YouTube channel's about. And I don't mean, flying, cooking, travel, cats, nothing like that. Mine is all things plumbing. So I got mine way under 7 words, but every video I make has to fall within that phrase. So mine is all things plumbing. I can talk about plumbing products, plumbing jobs, plumbing as a trade, getting into plumbing, doing different things like that, as long as everything I talk about is plumbing. If your channel is about business coaching and how to grow coaching, I don't think that you'd be talking about food and a recipe to make. And oh my God, I invited people over the other night and I made this amazing steak and I cooked it like this. You're going to lose a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So know what your channel's about and always talk about that. And I like the fact that you touched on the fact that they need to remember they're the professional. People are seeking you out, whether it's because you made a great thumbnail, because you made a great title. If you bring them value in the video, they'll keep coming back and watching more. And this is going to help you grow. It's going to help your business grow. And it's going to help move you up in your industry to be one of the leaders in your industry.
I love that. I want to touch upon that just a little bit, especially because you're in the trades. And I think that you've done something really unique and built the self-awareness around the fact that you do have something that's of value that you can share with the world. And I think I happen to know a lot of people that are in the trades and they have their small business and they're trying to grow it and they won't do video. And oftentimes they'll say like, I mean, anybody can do this. Anybody can go, put a nail in a wall and anybody can, maintain filters. And I'm like, no, actually, there's a good portion of the population that would watch your video and try to learn and hire you and seek you out. So like, how did you make that shift, if that was even a problem for you? And what do you tell other tradesmen that I'm sure have probably come up to you and say, like, who would watch my video on this?
The neat thing is we all have our own stories. Okay, my stories are going to be different than your stories. We could be talking both about emotional intelligence, but I'm going to see it a different way than you do it. I'm going to interpret it a different way than you do it. It may be the same thing, and it may end up with the same result, but we may see it a completely different way. So I love just talking to them and saying, look, you understand that you are a professional. You've got a license in your pocket. You know what you're doing. And if I asked you a question about a MERV 8 filter, what's the best filter to put in? You could probably just rattle off and tell it to me.
Yeah.
Talk about the things that you know about. I mean, I'm lucky because I've done commercial, I've done residential, I've done industrial, I've done new construction, I've done service, I've been in non-union, union, non-union again. So I can talk about all of it. Talk about the things that you're good at. Talk about the things that you specialize in. If I were a plumbing company that specialized in leak detection and whole house water filtration, I would want to have as many videos out there on YouTube about those two subjects as I could. That way people see me as the expert in that particular niche of our industry.
I love that. So I want to dive into a little bit more about the strategy of the YouTube, because I think that sometimes people get caught up on that. So I want to kind of break it into two. So if somebody is new to YouTube and they're thinking, okay, if this Roger can do it, then I can do it. And I'm going to start putting some videos up on YouTube. Like, what are the first three things they should do to launch a successful YouTube channel? Just like the first three.
Well, first of all, you've got to set your channel up right. You've got to set it up secure. You've got to do everything. But I mean, you can learn how to do that on YouTube. I mean, we teach people how to do it. We teach them how to go the extra layers to keep their channel safe, because so many people are hijacking channels these days. But number one, set your channel up right. Title it and build it right, where your banner looks good. The picture of you looks good. You want your channel to look semi-professional. You want it to look good. You want it to be branded. You want it to represent you. And then the easiest thing to do is talk to the person that answers the phone at your company. Ask them, what questions are we asked every day? I mean, not if you think about it, and I ask you, look, what are the top 10 questions that when people call and talk to you, they're like, not a look, I need to know, do you do this? Do you do this? Because if you can answer that question, you should have a video about it. Because now you're putting your information out there, talking about your company, talking about your business. With me, it was always slab leaks, leak detection, whole house water filtration system. You know, hey guys, we got called out the other day because Miss Johnson had a problem. Her water bill was crazy. So we walked out, and as soon as we looked at the water meter, we knew we had a problem. So then we took our leak detection equipment out and we started listening. And I can go through a whole video, tell you the story of how we found the leak and then how we fixed it. Now, when somebody calls and says, hey, do y'all do leak detection? Do y'all do slab leak repairs? Oh my gosh, yes, we do. Can I get your name and phone number? I'd like to, or your phone number and your email address. I'd like to send you a little video that shows you how we do it and why we do it the way we do. And as many questions as people call and ask companies every day, you could probably just make enough videos to last a year just off the questions you're asked each and every day or every month.
See, I really like what you just said there, Roger, because what I hear you saying is that you're using it in a very strategic way. And I think that sometimes when people think about YouTube, they think very insular, like more from an influencer standpoint, like just throwing up content, not realizing that they can actually use the content to gain more clientele as like little bits of resources of like what they're doing and the actions that they're taking. And so I think that for anyone that's listening, like being able to reframe how you use YouTube, but beyond like just trying to grow your channel and realizing that everything that you're putting out there is like a library of resources that can help educate your next client, that can help you, you know, make that impact that you want to make.
You know, the founder of Chick-fil-A called his executive team together one time because they were worried about Boston market coming to town. They said there's a new chicken place coming. And they had all these executives locked in for a weekend trying to come up with a marketing plan and idea. And finally, at the end of the second day, they had nothing new. And finally, the president, the owner, the founder, whichever one it was, said, you know what, everybody, let's go home. Let's just go home. We're good. And I look at him and said, well, wait, we didn't come up with anything. And he says, you know what? If we keep doing things better, our customers will demand that we get bigger. Keep doing things right. Always try to do it better than everybody else. In a world of mediocrity, that's really easy to do.
Yeah.
The people that are hiring you and say, look, we want to be better, they're already winning the game. They're already winning the game. Keep trying to get better. We try to get 1% better every day. We've been doing this 7 years. We still look at what can we do better? What little tweak, what little dial can we turn to make it better? And you're talking about growing it and more views and more subscribers. If you bring value in your videos, people are going to keep coming back and watching more. That's what it's all about.
So now that's what I was going to pivot to. And this is more now I want to be a student, Roger, and I want to ask some selfish questions.
Go for it.
So for those that have a YouTube channel, obviously we have a YouTube channel here at Rise Up For You. We post probably anywhere between 3 to 4 times a week, long form, and then everyday short form. How do you get the engagement that you want, or how do you get it out there? Is it SEO? Like, what are some of the more finite strategic things that go beyond just posting, good content and being consistent?
Well, SEO is a lot of the back end. If you've seen me on stage, when I walk out, I say, hey, I'm Roger Wakefield. I'm just a plumber. If you've never gone to YouTube and searched plumbing, do it now. And like half the room will pull out their phone, and I'm like, and I'll get back to that in a minute. And I just start talking, but then all of a sudden you see people, they're looking at their phone and they're showing it like, oh my gosh, did you see this? I just searched plumbing and he's the first thing that pops up. Yeah. So imagine whatever niche or industry you or your people are in, what word would you want to be found for? Because if you'll start making video content about that word and around that word and use it in your titles, in your thumbnails, in your descriptions, in your video, in the verbal part, you'll start growing in that. But you don't just keyword stuff it. You do it strategically. You think about how you're saying it. What are you saying about that word? Remember, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google's looking for EEAT, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. If you're doing this on YouTube and people search Google looking for information, Google's now showing my videos to people that are searching for plumbing. And if I can do it as a plumber, because I know nothing about marketing, nothing about advertising, but look what I've done in 7 years.
Yeah.
And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
What would be your, in regards to like some of those words that you're saying, would you say 1 to 3, 1 to 5, just pick one like that's specific to like really, niching down on, or is there too many?
I think you can get to have too many. Somebody called me the other day and told me, Roger, you're the number 1 plumber ranked for the history of plumbing. Now, I don't know how many videos we've made for the history of plumbing. I never thought about it like that. But I know that when people go search plumbing, they find me. Now, the history of plumbing, slab leak detection, slab leak repair, whole house water filtration.
Yep.
We picked different things that we wanted to be found for, and we started with plumbing. We knew, look, plumbing is an all-encompassing word. It's a big word. It's an expensive keyword. But that's what we started with, and then we started getting a little more detailed in what exactly about plumbing did we want to be found for. Tankless water heaters. We've covered so many topics that really we're probably the top plumbing channel for all these topics, and we just don't think enough about it to go in and search them.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you for that. Roger, I want to ask you, because, obviously it wasn't easy in the last 7 years. What would you say is maybe like 1 or 2 key elements to building your success, right? I know a lot of times people listen to this and they know what to do, but they just don't do it. And so I'm curious, like, what was the recipe for success for you that you're continuing to use?
Well, the first one is consistency. We put up 3 videos a week every week for about 4 or 5 years straight before we missed one because it wasn't approved by a sponsor in time. And I was so upset that we missed a post. So now we've always got extra videos that we could plug in at any time. The other thing is you've got to get the right mindset. We've got a free webinar out right now that literally addresses the 3 biggest mindset issues that people have. And these are the things people tell me every day as to why they can't do YouTube. And it's like, all I hear are excuses because I thought those same things. But then once I started learning, once I started growing, and then once I started hiring the right coaches and consultants and trainers, our channel started exploding. And it's like, if you don't know what you're doing and you try to teach yourself, you're never going to know if you're learning right from wrong. But once you hire the right coaches, consultants, trainers, you read the right books, you study everything, you understand, look, this is easy to do and it's easy to do it right.
Yeah, I love that. Roger, thank you so much for joining on the podcast today. I want to jump into the power section and just ask you some rapid fire questions.
Sure. Let's go for it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes. So, question number one, if you were to leave the world with one final message, we call it our golden nugget here at Rise Up. For you, what would your golden nugget be?
The trades are a great opportunity to become a millionaire. Don't feel like you have to go to college.
I love that. That's a great golden nugget. Next question for you is, as you know, we teach soft skills here. One of the biggest challenges we see with professionals and entrepreneurs is a lack of self-confidence. It's like one of the number one challenges. If you had to rate yourself in self-confidence today, 1 through 10, 10 being amazing, what would you give yourself?
12. I love what I do. I am so, I drive down the road and sometimes I'll just start giggling. I am living the most amazing life I could have ever imagined.
Yeah.
I'm a plumber and I'm talking to amazing people like you every day. And I believe that I'm living the life that God planned for me. And for me to be able to just wake up every day and get to come do what I do, you got to have a lot of confidence. Just say, man, I'm doing something right.
I love that. I love that. I have one more question for you, but before I ask, tell the audience where they can find you, where they can connect. I know you mentioned you have the webinar, you do coaching. Tell us more.
Hey, if you want to just watch the free webinar, go to justmetroger.com. That's an easy one. If you want to connect with me personally, go to LinkedIn. That's normally the one that I do myself, and it's just Roger Wakefield. And if you hadn't done it yet, pull out your phone, go to YouTube, search the word plumbing, scroll down, look for the big silver mustache. But if you do that, you've got to subscribe. That way we don't mess up the algorithm.
Yeah. I love that. We'll make sure we put all of that in the show notes. And final question for you, Roger. As you know, we are the company Rise Up For You. What comes to mind when you hear that phrase?
Well, knowing what your company's about, I think one of the greatest lessons that I ever learned was a study done on kids that had done well, people that had done well. And the number one thing that it kept getting tied back to was it didn't matter how rich their parents were. It didn't matter what side of the tracks they lived on. It's the kids that understood emotional intelligence because they become the adults that understand emotional intelligence.
Yep.
And when you can walk up and look at somebody and you understand not just their feelings, but yours, and you can tie it into sympathy and empathy and how to communicate with people and understanding their personalities. I think that when you learn to do that, you set yourself apart from everybody else in the world. But learning about emotional intelligence for me personally, it blew my mind that it's really about how you make other people feel. And at the end of the day, if you understand emotional intelligence, you know how to communicate with them, you know how to talk to them, you know how to make them feel. And it's not just talking, because we know verbal's not everything it is.
I love that. Thank you so much, Roger. That was a great way to wrap up this episode. Thank you for joining us today.
Not a thank you. This has been a pleasure. And thank you for inviting me on here.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for joining the Rise of You podcast. Again, this is your host, Netalina Nastardine. Every single week, we are bringing amazing entrepreneurs, executives, thought leaders to help you be your absolute best. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to both Roger and the Rise Up For You's podcast. And I will see you next time. Roger, thanks again.
Thank you so much.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel and check us out on social media. We are everywhere, from LinkedIn to Instagram to Facebook, at our simple handle at Rise Up For You. On every single platform, it's exactly the same. And we're providing new content on every single platform, so there's something different everywhere. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our podcast, and connect with us on social media. I'll see you next time.